be a minute or two and allow the participants start to get in here. We see the numbers climbing.
Great. Awesome. From around the world. We actually had someone from Europe in the middle of the night sign up, and I went, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe they work the night shift.
Here we go.
Yeah. All right.
Here we
People
go.
are flowing in.
Isn't there a song?
Why don't you sing one
Night
for
shift,
us?
baby. Isn't there like an old
Oh,
disco
that's Night
song?
Moves, right?
No, that's Bob Seger. You don't
I
know
like
who Bob
that one.
Seger is, so you're
I
too
know
young.
who Bob Seger is. My parents educated me.
Julie,
I saw the Grateful Dead in concert. Think about that. In concert.
That's pretty good.
I
The real
know.
Grateful Dead.
I
That's
know.
pretty good.
I think
Yana?
something about it.
Julie, we should have gotten some kind of girl power song while we were waiting.
That's right. Girl power. How about that? We've got a lot of guys on today, though. That's
Or
kind of
anything
cool.
by Beyonce.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We do.
I think we're
That's
probably
good.
sitting around 15 to 20. I know sometimes when we talk to the guys, we're like, join us. I'm like, it's a woman's event. I'm not a woman. I'm like, okay. We have a lot of fun.
But it is open. And I mean, we do see
Yeah.
them. We see their names on the list. So welcome, gentlemen. If you're in here too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Join in.
And I'm going to do a little bit of technical support here.
Okay.
I don't know if Haley got in or not. There's no link to join anywhere.
So there's confirmation emails that would come 2 hours before, well, 2 days before, 2 hours before, and 2 minutes before. And then there's a link within that email that.
Yeah, and I'm going to put it in chat really quick, Sudu. And then if you any girls want to send it to anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're flowing in. We've got a good dozens and dozens on here. They're coming in. So you ladies, let me know when you think we should get it kicked off. Julie, specifically, if if we want to just hit it right on the money or give it another couple minutes.
Yeah, it's the money right now, right?
It's always the money, honey.
We're in the money.
We're in the money. Okay. Well, let's get we can
Well-
get started. Oh.
Hang on, I'm texting to people the link that you just sent.
Yeah, if there's some people that are having trouble, maybe we should give them a couple more minutes.
Mm.
Okay.
Fair
So
enough.
they at least know who we are. Otherwise, they're going to be like, who's this lady?
Right.
Yana, I put that link out there in chat. If you have any of your folks over at DaVita that are struggling.
Yep. Thank you. I'll check.
I'll try to sing something. Let me see. Working at the car wash, yeah.
I do
Y'all
see
come
Haley in, Sue.
Yeah, she just said thanks. I sent her the.
Yep, and we got Todd in as well.
All right, great.
I don't know.
Just another minute.
Out in an Eventbrite, sometimes I have problems with it too, so I get it.
Mhm.
Hey, if you guys have your phone on and it's a beeping, we turn it into vibrate. Okay, let's get this party started.
Ready to do it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Kalia Garrido. I head up events and marketing here at Great Data Minds. And we are just thrilled to have our first Great Data Minds Women event. So as many of the folks on the line know, we did have this initially scheduled to be an in-person session. And so as we all know, with the state of the world right now, that is not possible. One of the good silver linings that we can find as we look for them in this situation is that almost all of the original registrants stayed on as we transitioned this from an in-person event to a Zoom event. And we were able to pretty much double our capacity numbers. So that's one of the good things, is that we get to share this conversation a little bit louder and wider now that we're remote. So one of the silver linings, I'm looking for them. So there is some seriously potent power in this line today, ladies and gentlemen. We do have a few gentlemen as well joining us. Between these panelists and all of our attendees. And so we know it's not the same thing as being in person, but we will get back to that just as soon as we can. For right now, we're going to be safe and we're going to be home and we're going to still be able to connect. And that's what we're doing today. So an exciting announcement that we have is that as the world has gone topsy-turvy, we have created a new LinkedIn group that we would love to officially invite everybody to. So we're going to be sending out a link to this entire group that is on the line today, tomorrow. It will have some information with how you can find us on our new closed LinkedIn group. But if you want to get ahead of the game and you want to multitask on these Zoom sessions like Sue Merrigan does, then you can just search in Great Data Minds Women onto your LinkedIn search bar, and you'll be able to pull us up. We will certainly admit you, and this is a way that we're going to be able to keep some of the conversation going. That's one of the main things that we were sad about as we had to change this to an online event. We really hope to be kind of clinking our glasses in person and getting to meet each other as we went, but for today's purposes, this is where we're at. So join us on that group, please, and we will be able to keep the conversation moving there. So to continue on my soapbox, a little bit more about Great Data Minds. Great Data Minds is a collective of passionate data activists. We are on a mission to modernize the world of data. Our Women series is now dedicated to honoring great women in the analytics world. I see a whole bunch of them right here, and I know we have a lot more on the line, as well as help foster strong connections among women in the data community. Great Data Minds offers a full range of services for strategic planning, education, and the deployment of critical data projects. And so we produce great content in the way of videos, podcasts, chronicles, and then we also host events just like we're doing today. We do in-person events when we are legally allowed to do them, and we do virtual events since before we had to do them. So, you know, there's a lot of cool events coming up. Now, 2 important sessions that I consider to be don't miss that I'd like to take an opportunity to tell you about. Number 1 is on May 7th. We're going to do a Technology Matters Marathon. So this is how you get to be a fly on a wall and check out some cool new technology solutions that have been pre-vetted by Great Data Minds. You can come for 1 session, you can join for a few, you can stay for them all. It's really up to you, but you get to check out some of the cool new tech around data that's out there today. So you can—
Without sales pressure.
Without
salespeople.
Right? I know.
Those
You
damn
can just be
salespeople.
incognito, so that's pretty cool too. And then the second one is that we're also hosting a multi-day executive level workshop. This is going to start on June 10th. It's going to provide you with the real deal, how to roadmap and plan for standing up a modern analytics program of your own. So that's 2 cool things. If you want to find out about those sessions we have coming up and more information, you can always reach us at greatdataminds.com/events. And if you haven't already signed up for our newsletter, please do that at greatdataminds.com. That's how you're going to stay abreast of all the cool things that we have coming up. Now, some housekeeping for today's amazing session. Bringing it in. Okay, everybody on the line today, you are all muted, but the Q&A and the chat are enabled. So if you want to use the chat as a conversation tool amongst yourselves to get that conversation going like we started, please feel free to do so. But if you have a real deal, I want to ask this to one of the panelists or to all of the panelists, please make sure that you use the question and answer for that. That will just help me to kind of manage it a little bit better. Also, we're going to ask some polling questions throughout the conversation, so please participate, everyone. We want to hear where you're coming in on these discussions as well. We are also going to be planning to share back some of the results of the poll. You'll see them today, because that would be crazy to not see it right away, but we'll also share it back out on social. So if you want to see it later on, you can find it there as well. One more bit of housekeeping is that if you're not familiar with Zoom, on the top right of your screen, you have an option to toggle between a speaker view and a gallery view. Myself, as well as Julie Burrows, we prefer the gallery view so that we can see everybody who's talking at once. But if you just want to see the mug of the person that's talking, you can go to speaker view. So
It's like bad lighting in a restaurant, you know?
I have some bad lighting here. I have a very bright line here that I'm trying to avoid. Okay, let's get to today's discussion. This is the good stuff. All the fine print is out of the way. Let's get into it. We are going to talk today to some of Denver's heavy-hitting women leaders in data. I am honored to introduce our panelists today. We have Sue Merrigan. Sue.
Hello.
Hello, there she is. She's the Vice President of Data Management and Analytics at Optum. We also have Lynn Winterbor. She's a lean, agile servant leader, educator, and coach at Cigna. We have Jana Rigsiger. She's an IT Director, Business Intelligence and Application Development at DaVita. And we have,
Hello.
hi. We have Julie Burrows. And if anybody on this line does not know Julie Burrows, you won't forget her. I'll tell you.
There's a lot.
She is our advisor, our founder, our head visionary, and my personal amazing business partner here at Great Data Minds.
Kalia.
So, Julie, the floor is yours. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm excited for this conversation.
Great. Yana, how'd she do on that last name?
Very good. Very good. Good job.
I asked for phonetic pronunciation before the call. You hooked me up, man. Enabling me.
She's prepared.
There you go. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. It definitely gave me an opportunity to get out of my hoodie, my yoga pants, and take a shower, puff up my hair, go ahead and I was able to get the shoe polish out and even work on my roots. But really, I mean, seriously, who is watching this barefooted? There's a little thing where you can raise your hand. How many people are watching this barefooted? Lynn is.
Where's the little thing to raise my hand?
Yeah, it's right. No, it's right down at the bottom. Oh, it isn't on the bottom. We don't have a raise hand on this one. So I'm just assuming that most people do.
Wow. Let me correct you. We actually do. And we have at least 16 people that are barefooted right now. So we're panelists.
The panelists do. Oh, okay.
Yep. These people are absolutely barefooted.
Okay, good. So I'm going to kick things off. I want to, Kaylee was telling me a little bit in the beginning about how this was going to be a great in-person event. And we were going to take over. I don't know if any of y'all have ever been over to Janus, but they have this beautiful room on the top of their building in Cherry Creek. And there's fireplaces outside and places to mingle. And we were going to have wine and we were going to have food that they had. So they were really into this sponsorship. And there's for good reason. There's a gentleman by the name of Todd Neese over there who really does care about, Lynn knows him, who really does care about diversity. And he has helped us all along the way. I want to go ahead and ask him real quick to say a couple words. He's got some stats around diversity that Janus has, and he's going to share them with us. And hopefully they're pretty much, we can look at those stats and say, gosh, we hope other organizations in the country are like this too. So Todd, I know your camera's not working. I've been sitting here chatting with you, but let's see if we can hear your voice.
Let me do a quick sound check. Can you hear me? Just
Yep.
quickly?
Yes.
You're
All right,
coming in
perfect.
clear.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Very much appreciate the opportunity. I look forward to the time when we can all join in together in person and interact in that way. I think Julie also has a link to our 2019 impact report, which for people who are not familiar with Janus Henderson, gives a much broader kind of perspective of all the great things that the firm does. I did want to take a couple of seconds because we are analytically inclined on the phone to talk about some efforts to try to make our culture better and to try to make the way we make decisions better, the way we work together better. And so in that impact report, you'll see some areas where we're focused on diversity and inclusion. And as we know, that's not about counting people, but making sure that every person counts. As analytic people, we know that if we don't focus and look and make sure we're aware of what's changing, we're not going to help things change. So when we look at 2019 versus 18, in terms of our new joiners coming to the company, 44% of our new joiners were women. That's a 2% increase above 2018. 36% of women are in people manager roles globally. That's a 2% increase again year over year. And 29% women are in senior leadership roles, senior executive leadership roles. That's a 4% increase. Again, no one is happy with those numbers, but we're trying to make them better. And again, we believe that through making the backgrounds of everybody that contribute more well-rounded and more diverse, we create a better culture and we create better product, we create better client service, which is what we're all about. So again, thank you. I look forward to the time when we can all interact, not necessarily virtually.
Todd, thanks so much. And you know what? This is a happy hour, so let's raise a glass to Todd for all the effort you put into helping us here at Great Data Minds Women. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Todd, sorry we didn't get to see your pretty mug. Okay, so we already did a round of real quick introductions from Kalia, but let's get a little bit more out of these women and ask them a couple questions. So tell me your name, what you do for a living, what company, but also tell me anything else you want to tell me about yourself. Let's start with, how about Yana?
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. So my name is Yana Ritziger. I currently work as a IT director responsible for business intelligence and application development in DaVita. DaVita is a Fortune 200 healthcare company headquartered here in Denver. So if you guys want to take a look, it's a pretty interesting company. I'm not going to do the sales pitch there. There's a lot of information, but we really have over 200,000 patients, and we have 3,000 kind of mini hospitals, clinics all through the country. And then we also have operations in 10 countries. So it's a fairly large multinational company specializing in primarily in the kidney care and in dialysis for patients that lost their ability to lost their kidney function. And we have some pretty good story behind that company. So take a look at DAVITA. So anyway, I've been there for about 15 years and really had a great career there. And prior to that, I did some consulting for one of the leading IT and business consulting companies throughout the U.S. So it's been pretty interesting over the last 20 plus years. And then prior to that, I actually grew up in Russia, in Soviet Union, which the country that doesn't exist anymore, and immigrated here in mid 90s in 95. So it's been about 25 years right now. So really happy to be here. Thank you, Julie, for inviting me. She just said that, hey, there are women in data, and you've been here for 20 plus years, all specializing in data. And if you want to share some experiences and maybe help out some of the maybe younger women that are just starting with their career, maybe it would be valuable to them. So I'm happy to be here. So ask me questions that you think would be valuable to you, really.
We're honored to have you. I think we're just going to do a video call in the future about your life growing up in Russia and how you got here. How about that? We're just going to spend an hour on that. So thanks so much.
I think we're going to have to have more lines for that.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. Vodka. You grew up in Russia. Vodka. I got mine. Okay. Let's go to Lynn.
Hey, okay, I'm Lynn Winterbohr. I'm a Colorado native, which I'm really proud of. I grew up on a guest ranch in Evergreen that my grandparents owned and my parents ran. So I grew up with horses and fishing and
Cool.
everything, which is kind of the unique thing about me as a child. I am currently a jack of all trades in the Agile space at Cigna, which is a large healthcare health insurance company. And so I serve as an Agile coach, 20 data management, data focused teams that go everywhere from business process automation to, moving large volumes of data to, they just have such a wide variety of things that they do. So I get to coach those 20 teams, which is really, really rewarding. My background prior to this is I had my own company for 10 years called Winterbohr Agile Analytics. And so I did training and education and advisory consulting to many clients over the years. I had a personal reason to want to settle down into a job right when Cigna offered me a job. It was really interesting, and it was hard to give up my company, but I feel like it was the right decision for me at this point in my life. And I think that's important, that we all feel that we have the opportunity to do what's right for us in our lives at that moment. I thought that giving up my company was going to hurt a lot more than it did, which is really interesting to me because I was so proud of the work that we had done. But I'm thrilled to be where I am, and I work for a great company that takes really good care of people, and I get to work with data teams, all of whom are Agile, and I jump out of bed every morning excited to see what's happened on the East Coast.
Cool. I tell you, I'm in meetings all the time, lunch, happy hours, breakfast, and your name comes up. I mean, you're like a mainstay here in the Front Range. So you're responsible for making a lot of people go Agile, young lady. So good for you.
Credit. That's awesome.
Yep. All right, Sue, let's hear it. But you're not allowed to say that you like long walks on the beach.
Because I do, right?
I know you do.
So I I'm Sue Merrigan. I actually work for Optum, which is a United Health Group company. They're a Fortune 5. We have about 325,000 employees. And so I met Yana because I was part of DaVita Medical Group, and we were an acquisition from DaVita over to Optum. So I have my whole career in data. I've done this for more years than I'm going to say, because you guys would then guess my age. But I've had all aspects of it. I have done database development, data architecture, data modeling, MDM, you name it, and now data governance, now data leadership. And I love the data leadership part. It's a great avenue for me, for sure. But I grew up in northern Minnesota, which sometimes felt like I was in Russia because so removed
Florida.
from everything. So it's kind of interesting that I'm now with the Minnesota company, and my mom said, "Hey, does that mean you're going to move to Minneapolis?" And I'm like, no, not a chance. So happy to live here in Denver. I've been here since 1995, and love the climate here and everything about it. So happy to be here.
Thanks for joining us.
For having us.
Yeah,
Really
I happen to know your age, and I'll tell the audience it's 41. So 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 we're going to continue to pick on you, all right? Because you're the first one up. Just to let the audience know, we're going to talk to each of these women individually, and then we've got some pretty fun questions at the end that they're going to answer. So we're going to go back to you, Sudu. Let's go. I got to tell you, I've known you for a long time, a customer, a friend, a colleague. And I've seen, it's amazing. I love to travel, but every time I call you, you're like, oh, I'm in Florida, or oh, I'm down in LA area, or I'm, somewhere traveling for work. I mean, you might have to be a grand poobah on United. I think you told me you were. So how do you do that every day? First of all, get on an airplane and travel week after week after week. And what unique management styles have you had to adhere to for managing these diverse teams all over the country?
Well, I do have a team that is dispersed east to west coast, so I feel it's really important to, spend time seeing them and getting that face time. I feel like that human connection is so much better than doing things on video, as we all are experiencing now. But, so that's a lot of reason why I'm on an airplane. I like to be with my teams. I like to connect with them. To know I'm there for them, and I connect with them on a personal level, and then also on a professional level. And then of course I have, multiple meetings. We're such a large organization. Our executives are all over the country. And so we do have a lot of meetings. So yeah, it does feel like I'm on an airplane every week. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, sometimes I am home for a month, which is great. And now I'm home for 2 months. So it's even better. But I came back on the 7th of March, and I haven't been anywhere since, obviously. So
Nice.
yeah, so it's it is hard and juggling, but having that employee base that is across geography, I think it's really important, like I said, to connect. And the other thing I do with the teams is I have to keep them connected. Is I have an awesome team newsletter. And it's strictly fun.
Nice.
And it's really was the reason I did this was when I started having teams that were I can't talk, that wine drink.
Wine drink, that
Who
wine.
are dispersed geographically. It was, how are they going to stay connected? They're on email and conference calls, but they've, never met each other because they have no reason to travel. So I started this newsletter called Awesome Team News, and it's just fun stuff. And now the team is really getting that opportunity to get to know their teammates. This has been going on since 2017. We've been doing this. It's a lot of work, but everybody sends me their fun pictures, everything they've been doing with their families. And now they have that connection. They know each other, even though they never see each other, right?
Nice.
So that's the other thing. And then finally, it's just that one team mentality and keeping the team connected. And, I work really hard to make sure that we are one team, even though we're 9. right, dispersed across the country, we're really one team and we're always there for each other and able to stay connected and jump in whenever there's an all hands on deck. There's absolutely no hard lines.
Nice. I got a couple more questions for you, but I'm getting pinged by my manager. She's going to throw up her first poll that kind of relates to what we're talking about. And while everyone's taking the poll, we're going to go ahead and continue our discussion. How about that? And then we'll come back and give everyone the feedback. So do you think this will change? You haven't seen them live in probably what, month and a half, 2 months. I mean, will this change for you guys? Do you think you'll have less travel?
I actually think it's going to change a lot. I think we will have less travel. At least we know we'll have probably no travel for some time, at least for roles like mine. So yeah, I continue to touch base with them and do skip level one-on-ones just to see how they're doing and weathering the storm, and making sure that everybody is very much aware and knows we're there. Every day we have a 15-minute, Dave's Daily, it's called. It's our CEO from United Health Group. And it's amazing because we were talking as a data management analytics team on my team on how connected we now feel with the CEO of United Health Group, because we see him every day for 15 minutes. And we, even though nobody's ever met him in person, I mean, I have, but nobody else on my team has, they feel like they know him and they have such an appreciation for who he is as a person and what he's doing for the country, not just the company, but the country during this crisis.
Nice. Okay, great. Polls coming in. Here's some results here if you guys want to look at it. Once again, we're going to go ahead and share this poll out on Great Data Minds LinkedIn Women's site. So it looks like most people are allowed to work from home part-time, which is nice. Really nice. So it'll be interesting to see how that might change.
My whole team is, of course, 100% home right now, but we have a lot of remote workers even when it's not COVID.
Good, good. So, whenever I talk to you, you are always bragging on your team and the fact that you have really great resources. And then I get to interact with some of them. Sometimes I go, damn, that was a really great interaction. What's the secret to hiring these great resources? And I think a lot of them have been with you for a long time, right?
Yeah, a lot of them have. I mean, I started the department and started hiring, and I had like a team of 5, right? And now I have a team of almost, over 60, and with contractors, it's over 80. But it's been, it's been a journey. We've had a couple that didn't quite work out the way we had hoped, but for us, we always look for the rock stars in the pile of the resume, but for us, it's more about culture. So, we have a culture on my team that is 100% around collaboration, cooperation, not competition. And some of our core team values are compassion and humility, and, that's the core of us. And we really work hard as a team to support, each other personally and professionally. The outpouring on personal side when something happens is amazing. It's so humbling for me. But we went through early on an exercise called Awesome Team exercise, hence the reason for the Awesome Team newsletter, on what we thought as a team, an awesome team would look like. And I went to each of the locations, we brainstormed, we came up with all of these different things that we thought
Nice.
we have an awesome team. And then we came back, and then we all collapsed it down. We, did a big team meeting and all on WebEx, and we collapsed it down to a single set of those things. And some of my teammates still have this slide hung up in their cube today. So when we go to get new teammates and hire new people, that is what we use to evaluate whether or not they're going to be a cultural fit. Yes, they have to have the skills to do the job, right? But cultural fit is more important. And then when you foster that kind of culture, the team just naturally becomes rock stars and does a great job for you.
Amen, sister. I love the fact that you're looking at the human side of things. We don't see that a lot, just really reaching out in the newsletter and everything. So recently your nice little humble team was gobbled up by a monster. How did that go?
Well, I love change, so for me it was great. It was a lot of hard work. Of course, we were sad leaving our friends at Kidney Care when we split off, but it was a lot of hard work to do that separation and stand on our own from an IT perspective. But it was fun. You know, I have a great group of executives that are my peers that are just, they're friends, they're awesome, and so it was. And I think my team felt the same way. It was, geez, you know, we hate to leave our friends, but, you know, we'll make new. But, you know, it's a very forward looking organization, Optum is. They're, you know, or UHG, one of their core values is innovation. And so for me, it was really it's been an exciting journey. And, you know, I have been able to reorganize my team so that I'm out of the day-to-day operations pretty much. And I'm spending all of my time focused on, you know, strategy for Optum, on data strategy, and then planning. So it's really fun to be on the front lines of that. And the team is really excited knowing what's coming for them, because they know now we're moving into, you know, more of a modern data platform, and so they're excited for that. But it was tough for them at first because Optum wants to know everything about our business, and we're the data team, right? So they were trying to do their day jobs and just 100% been bombarded with requests for data, and then have to explain the data because they don't understand how value-based care works in some cases, depending, you know, everybody thinks of them as the insurance side. So it was interesting, but we're all in a really great place right now and excited for what's coming.
Okay, great, awesome. So what's next for your organization? What's on the horizon?
Well, we're shifting all of our data warehouse operations across Optum Care. Or I should say, when I say Optum Care, it's the care delivery organization part of Optum. Optum is huge, right? So we're shifting all the data warehouse operations for all of our care delivery organizations across the US to Snowflake on Azure. So, you know, there's 17 care delivery organizations. So, and think of a care delivery organization as an entity that has multiple clinics serving multiple hundreds of thousands of patients. And so we're all shifting now to a new data platform, and it's pretty exciting. I love that I'm part of the front lines, and our team is actually the ones that are doing the pilot on the new platform. So they're super psyched about that, you know, being directly involved, and we're going to be the ones that are helping to pave the way for the migration and the planning and the technology components that we'll be utilizing as well. So it's exciting. It's exciting for me to be part of that, that front line, you know, working with all the different care delivery organization leaders and data across Optum.
That's big change, big change. You think transformation will be hard? I mean, we see a lot of issues with human transformation when you go the route that you're going.
I think it will. And, you know, as I'm getting more involved with some of the other care delivery orgs outside of just ours, because we're, you know, we're as DaVita, Legacy DaVita Medical Group, we're classified as a care delivery org. So as I work with these other care delivery organizations around the US, there's a lot that are really don't want to do it, scared. There's some that like, can't wait, can we pilot too? So it just varies based on the organization, on what they want to, you know, how they're going to embrace it. So it's going to be a lot of change management, a lot of hand holding. But the great thing about it is Optum is 100% funding it on the behalf of the care delivery organizations. So it's at no cost. The platform's at no cost. They're gonna pay for the operating of the platform. So, you know, to not do it and get on a modern data platform at no cost, would you want to do it? I mean, we can't wait, right? So, so it'll be interesting to see. But it's going to be a multi-year journey because we're a big
Yeah.
organization and it's a big lift. For us, it'll be quicker, but I mean, if you look at Optum Care as a whole, it will be a multi-year journey for sure.
So we want to check in at the end of the year and see how it's going and interview you. That's big. That's really big.
It's big.
So when you're presenting, as Kaylee will tell you, we have texts coming in, we have emails, people can't get, we're like doing technical support and trying to keep our smiles on. And I did get a text from one of my colleagues that said, I want to work for Sue. And you know who you are out there. So anyway, well, thanks so much. That's awesome. The newsletter, I love that. I love that human side of things.
Well, I have to tell you a funny thing about the newsletter that just came in. So I said to the team, I sent out a note and I go, looking for content for the newsletter. And I would like you guys to send me photos of fun, entertaining things that you're doing through COVID with, to entertain yourself or your family. One of the guys sent me a drone. It was the whole progression of drone with a roll of toilet paper. And it picked up the roll of toilet paper and it went, and then it was photos of his brother who lives not that far away, catching the roll of toilet paper as it dropped. I was like, oh my God, that's so awesome. I thought it was great. So,
if you can share that video, we'll put it up on the LinkedIn site.
yeah, I mean, it was snapshots all the way along, right? And he probably has a video of it though, I'm sure. But those are the kind of fun things that makes it so fun to do the newsletter, because you get crazy stuff like that and you just get to really know your teammates.
Good. You can go back to pour another glass of wine. It looked like you were getting low. Do you need to go to the kitchen?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, I'm right here and I got my bottle right here.
Good move. Good move.
I noticed that Kaylee, we went on the light bulb for a few minutes and she came back with a beer, and then
That was
Nana
for the
went.
light. That was for the light, but I did have to walk by my husband as I entered this room with a beer and a backup. And I was like, I'm working. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, Lynn, you're up, baby doll.
Right.
I'm going to check my questions here right now, but so I mentioned in the beginning of our call that everyone knows you and you have ushered so many people into the Agile world. I'm not kidding you. I mean, around the country. When we met for dinner over on Colfax 17th Street, I was just like, what? You're not doing your own consulting gig anymore, because you were always so passionate, but you've always been passionate around this lean Agile area. And now you're going to say, where's this passion come from?
Okay. So I think it was kind of bred into me. Both my parents are entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurial minds and to survive, you have to be very iterative and incremental in how you go about this. Creating a business and maintaining it and all of that. The college that I chose was Colorado College, which does the block plan, which is one class every 3.5 weeks. So you have the whole 3.5 weeks for that one class. My major was in Southwest Studies, and I got to get on a bus with 12 other students and go travel around the pueblos to learn about religion of the Southwest. It was a great liberal arts education. But it was iterative and incremental learning as well. My first job out of my MBA, I worked for a venture funded startup that had a huge investment. It was a telecom company. And they ran the entire company on lean and Kanban, which this was in the mid 90s. So
Wow.
I got out of my MBA and got this job and thought, yeah, all the businesses did this. Because when I was in my program at DU, we were learning all about all the lean management theories, right? Because that was big, J. Edward Deming, and that kind of thing was really big in the 90s and the 80s. But so I thought this is how all companies ran. My second job out of MBA, I was a software developer. It was when they were like dying to hire software developers. I don't have an international MBA. I don't have a software degree, but they said, hey, we can teach anybody, and even you. And so I became a software developer, but we were an Agile company. We did everything iteratively and incrementally. So my early career was just, I was just bathing in this approach to how you get work done, and I loved it. I did go into data warehousing in the late 90s at level 3. I loved it, but it was very interesting to go from a very evolutionary approach to meeting business needs to go to a very waterfall approach. And I really, I learned a ton. I got my PMP while I was there, but I also realized that it wasn't really the best fit for me to be in an 18-month project. So I've kind of had it in my blood for a long time.
Nice. And now, you know, as if that whole passion for Lean Agile wasn't enough, now you are a SAFe coach, Scaled Agile Framework, passionate about that. And every time I talk to you, you're in some type of train the trainer, another course you're taking, something like that. So for the audience sake, tell us why the passion for this now, and what do you see, why is this becoming so popular, you know, out there, SAFe so popular out there, and the benefits of it, I guess. That's what I'm saying.
Scaled Agile Framework, shortened to SAFe, is one of a few kind of tried and true methods for scaling the Agile concepts that work really well at the team level out to the organization. And it works, I think its sweet spot is at about 125 people in your organization is when you sort of maybe want to start thinking about a scaled methodology. And what I like about it is that it's a set of tools and patterns pulled together into one place that are, somebody else has tried them first. They're good tools and good patterns that will work. So if you don't know what to do next, if you don't have a real clear idea on what to do next in your Agile journey at scale, you can look at these tools and patterns and trust that they're worth trying. The thing I love about Scaled Agile is that it's important to the founders of this framework that every organization that adopts SAFe takes the tools and patterns that work for them and extends them. And they don't ever want somebody to say, like, SAFe says this, and this is the rule, and this is how you should do it. And so they really want it to be something you own, you take and you own, and you evolve with it. The Scaled Agile Framework evolves every year, and the amount of information that's out there on the website, they call it the big picture. It's a big picture, and you can click on every little thing in that picture and go to one or many articles that back up that concept, that teach you about it, that give you more references. It's really an amazing tool set based on some real, you know, feet on the street experience.
Big benefits for humans, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that Agile in general is very focused on humanizing work and bringing in some aspects of like organizational psychology with systems thinking about how does the whole system of the organization work. Think about complexity thinking, you know, what does an organization do when they're dealing with a complex environment versus a complicated environment, those kinds of things. It's really pretty heady, and I really enjoy the academic challenge that is offered in the Lean Agile space.
Great. Okay, Kaylee wants me to do a poll. I'm getting pinged on the polls. Here we go, guys. During Lynn's talk, what type of delivery methodology do you use at your company? So we're going to let everyone work on that. And so let's continue our conversation, Lynn. You told me the other day, you go, I actually wake up every morning because most of your team is on the East Coast, and I really get excited to see what has happened. I mean, with implementing SAFe and you know, teaching people SAFe and everything, tell me, what are the benefits that are coming out of it at Cigna?
I think the benefits are, well, for one, if a company doesn't follow a consistent framework for how they're going to scale their Agile practices, Agile is intentionally not very prescriptive. And so and that's fine, that's great for an individual team. You say, what is it you need? We're gonna figure out how we get there. And the team can come up with their own way of getting there, and that's wonderful. But when you start to go, I mean, I work with one organization of 20 teams, and I think we have 450 or 500 Agile teams in our company. So I work with just a little teeny bit of that scale. And we've got to coordinate between us. We have a lot of dependencies between the systems that we work on. We want to ensure that business value being delivered here isn't, you know, derailed by some alternate thing happening here. So it really gives us an organizational framework to work within. And it particularly focuses on product decomposition. So how do you take the big need that the organization has, and how do you decompose that into little bits of value that can be delivered by a variety of teams? And I think there's a lot of value there.
So do you think you'll be seeing a lot of organizations out there moving in this direction as they start to take on cloud? And
Yeah, I think SAFe is pretty well established. I think unfortunately some companies are attracted to SAFe because of the diagram. It looks a little bit like an organizational structure that they can fit into. And so some companies maybe go SAFe and don't really make the change to the really agile and lean mindset. And then they're disappointed if they don't get the results that they want out of that framework. But as long as there's a true agile, lean mindset going into that and guiding it and keeping it on the rails, then I think companies are seeing a lot of success there.
why would anyone in our audience want to follow your path and have the passion that you do around this area?
You know, you sent me this question, and
Come on, you're not supposed to tell everyone that, Lynn.
you can't spring it on me or I'll talk forever. So I've been thinking about this, and I think that for me, what I love about what I do is the human side of it. The fact, because I have a strong empathy bone in my body. Like I've always been really sensitive to other humans and how they're feeling and what motivates them, what's inspiring them to do what they do. And I'm allowed to have that. That's not a weakness here. And, you know, frankly, getting my MBA in the mid-90s, I was feeling a bit like maybe I didn't fit in so well because people were all about like they were going to make as much money as possible. And, you know, it was all about the financial gain of having that degree, and I felt kind of odd. And now I found a world where we can deliver good value, we can make good money, and I'm allowed to care for people and really help them understand their motivation for what's driving them this way or that. So I really like the kind of psychological aspect of this. But I'm a person that has to know the whole picture and know how all the pieces fit. And that's kind of a systems thinking view. And I love that is my job. It's okay for me to go, wait, let's step back up. I want to understand the big picture. Okay, let's dive into the details. I want to understand how this human process works. And is it meeting the goals of the big picture or not? Where's the disconnect? I really just love being able to be at those levels. And I would say as an Agile coach, working with data teams, think about, I would say business analysts, because that's been a lot of my data expertise came from being an analyst, a data analyst. And we would often see the disconnects. We'd be like, wait, over here you use it this way, and over there you use it this way, or here you have it at that grain, and there you have it at that grain. And we would recognize the distinctions or maybe the discrepancies between how the different parts of the organization use the data. And I feel like with Agile and being an Agile coach, I get to do that same thing, but on the human side. Over here, you're really motivated by this. And over here, you're being motivated by something differently and you're getting two different messages. That's a problem because we all need to row in the same direction. Why don't we figure out what message is the one that we should be getting?
So I think you got a little bit of psychologist in you, don't you?
That's
great education reimbursement fund. And that word gets typed into my search bar sometimes, like the idea. Several of the coaches I work with are getting their PhDs in psychology.
Nice. Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow morning on our daily call that I call and I go, so are you thinking about going out as an independent yet? Because I want to be the first one in line.
I'm very, very happy with the company they work for. Thank you.
Yeah, you told me that. So thank you again for joining us today. So Jana, you're the last one. You're like, God dang it, I couldn't even drink my wine much because I was waiting. So let's get you out of the way so you can have some more sips, all right? Let's see. So this is kind of known in the Front Range, but you guys just embarked upon your cloud journey really last year, right? You did a lot of research and everything. Can you tell us the reason for this, why DaVita went forward, and maybe some of the story around it and the goodness?
Yes, sure. And as you said, we just started our cloud journey last year, but the prep for it was quite long. As you know, the healthcare is very highly regulated industry, and it's governed by a pretty extensive set of legal, compliance, privacy, regulatory rules. So that being a healthcare company, DaVita requires quite high degree of the data integrity and consistency, just because we, of course, treat patients and literally providing data where our business make decisions based on that data literally results in a life and death situation. So that journey to get to the approvals and comfort level that there is a solution that would be not just good for the business, but also good for and secure and safe for our practices and compliance and being with a healthcare provider, it's been quite long. But at the same time, it's not just getting through the hurdles of the compliance and regulatory, but it's also being the very large Fortune 200 healthcare company. We have a really high volume of data and data transactions. So, and a lot of them require really near real-time latency and high degree of accuracy. So when you combine all of this together, you know, the really high requirements for compliance, and then the scale and the solution for a really high degree of data integrity and quality, it really, there aren't that many on the market that were available a few years ago, and they just recently became available. So we are really excited to find one that really fits our needs, and we started that journey where we can get the scale, you know, the security and compliance that we need, and at the same time getting that a really large transaction volume and scale of the data that's still very consistent, very accurate. So we've historically been building our own systems in our own data centers, but having this cloud option gives us really a whole new opportunities for the solutions that we really couldn't have before. So it's super, super exciting, and I'm learning every day and finding new opportunities there, because all of those cloud technologies are still relatively new and developing specifically to healthcare, and it just opens a whole new world for us. So just really thrilled to do that.
You're working pretty closely with the data science team, and you're doing a lot of work with AI and ML, and you got a lot of projects over in that area too, right?
Yeah, we are partnering with this team with my partner in the company, Sean Best. But our primary focus right now is migrating the sources of our data, the transactional systems, and some of the real-time reporting and analytics onto the cloud to really give advantage of this high scale, reliable and fast data to really our frontline nurses and clinicians and in our 3,000 clinics across the U.S., which is really thrilling because they haven't had that before. And now having that holistic view of our patient data across the U.S. is really would be beneficial for both our caregivers and of course for our patients.
Great. What were some of the challenges that came up when you guys decided to move to the cloud?
Well, once we got through the hurdles of getting to the right solution and making sure that it fits our needs, contrary maybe to popular belief, it's not as easy as just, you know, turn it on and start consuming the cloud. What we found out is that it doesn't really come as a standalone solution that turns on by itself. More often than not, at least for us, it has to be integrated still with the solutions that are running on premise within our data centers. So that requires a degree of thinking through and architecting and setting up this hybrid platform that would run both in the cloud and still consume and exchange the data with on-premise systems. So it requires a whole new world of setting up a new network and permissions and data management practices that we haven't had before. So that definitely requires not just a new way of thinking, but also a skill set that is hard to get on the market. So the choices are either go hire somebody, as you know, in a very tight market, or train up people, which of course sometimes takes a while, and they still have their day jobs, right? So getting this set up with the platforms, of course, is not something to be discounted. Also, I would say second is I think that also maybe contrary to popular belief is that lift and shift kind of, it's not seamless, right? You still need to make some changes within the application if you move in the application rather than developing brand new as a greenfield project to make adjustments that it works in the application. So understanding the changes that it makes that needs to be made and adjustments to run in the cloud is also something that needs to be accounted for, and how the data is going to have to interact. And then also, I would say that a lot of us in data not only deal with the data per se, but also with data management practices, like how do we manage data lifecycle, how do we de-identify the data, how we share the data between the environments. That is a paradigm shift as well. So the normal kind of data management practices I go through dev to QA to production, and they de-identify the data, and then the environments are somewhat static. That doesn't work anymore in the cloud world. It's all spin up, spin down, and then so from the server perspective, from the services perspective, it's a sort of maybe more straightforward, but from the data perspective, you have to apply different data practices to that to make sure that it still works in this more dynamic and more maybe temporal world, so to speak, right? So very interesting paradigm shift. And then last but not least, of course, you cannot discount the human aspect of that, right? So it's a change to the organization. So all of those platform that I said, the data management practices, still changes to the application, can't really, let's just still adjustments. I mean, people get nervous when there's something new gets introduced, right? You can't discount it. What's going to happen to my job? Am I going to be able to fit in with that? Those new people that are coming in that's supposed to help us, but are they going to take my job, or am I going to stay? So data has been really, really, really great, and all this has been to make sure that we take care of our people. But regardless of any organization, any big disruptive change like this requires a degree of the human change management that cannot be discounted on top of the technology challenges.
I swear.
But I mean, all through that, it's probably pretty typical. I don't think I've probably said anything that any other organization didn't experience going through this journey. It's pretty typical, but in the end, if you keep like kind of the goal in mind and see the opportunities, I think all of that could be overcome.
Yeah, the human side can be as hard as the actual programming and changing and replatforming and all of that. So, hey, I'm getting pinged by my manager. Poll time, and then we're going to keep on talking. We'll let everyone take a look at that. Let's see, which of the following best describes where your organization currently is on their cloud journey. Okay, so let's keep going while these guys answer the poll, and we'll come back to Kalia. So what has this journey meant to you personally?
Well, I frankly is just really grateful for being able to have this opportunity, because the industry is changing so rapidly, not just the data industry, but the healthcare industry, right? And being able to have those opportunities to keep up, so to speak, and to lead people into those new solutions, it is just, I really do consider it as a privilege, because I mean, if you don't, you fall behind, frankly, right? So I'm just thrilled that I was given this opportunity. I would also be the first to admit that I still have a lot to learn, and it's very, very challenging to being the leader of the data organizations, of several data organizations, to steer them in that direction and try to lead the teams while still being novice really in this space and learning with them at the same time, because Previously in kind of on-prem traditional data warehousing, I felt pretty comfortable, and that wasn't anything I was worried about, to be able to support my teams. But now that I have to support my team in this completely new thing that I don't even know about it and learning with them, it's a whole different paradigm of leadership. So all I want to do is continue to support them versus learning myself, so I can speak intelligently with my teams and being able to support them as all of these are changing very rapidly. So just really excited and lots of new opportunities.
Cool. Yeah, it is exciting. Well, is there anything you would have done differently at this point, looking back?
Yes, got it done sooner with all of this new stuff. But I think it would be, if I were to do that, I would probably try to start a new the greenfield project straight in the cloud, rather than trying to migrate sort of ongoing project in the cloud, because then it introduces the double complexity, right? You're still developing the product, and then you're migrating at the same time, kind of changing the wheels as the train is moving. So I would have done the greenfield, but sometimes sometimes it doesn't work out this way, and that's okay. You have to sort of go with it and make the best out of that. So I'm glad we're there, and I think that I think it's really working out.
It's all uphill from here, or up to the cloud from here, or whatever. So, well, it's exciting. I know that we working with the folks around town and knowing some of your team, and it seems like everyone's really excited over at DaVita about what's going on. So
We are.
Yep. So thanks again for your time today. And now I've got some random questions for these ladies, and then we're going to wrap it up and let you guys ask some random questions. Kalia, do we have questions coming in? Oh, I think you're on mute.
I think I am too.
Okay.
Yes, we do have one question that came in so far, and this is from Jessica. It's, what cloud platform is DaVita currently using?
We are using a Google Cloud platform.
Got it.
Okay. All right, I've got some questions, okay? And any of you, as Lynn showed everyone, we gave these questions in advance, just kidding. But here's the first one. Anyone grab it that wants to. What do you see the future of data being? Robots.
Nobody wants to grab it, so I'll take it.
Okay.
So one of the things is we've seen such advances in AI and ML, right, on the analytics side, and I would hope, and I think what we will see is much more AI and ML on the data management side. So improving, the whole movement of data, the data quality, the validation, just everything around the data management side. I think we have a long way to go compared to where AI and ML took off for the analytics, but what about us? Right?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to see a big surge there. I think we're going to see a big change.
Yeah, I think that here's what I'm seeing practically, looking at demand, right? I consider, IT and data organizations as service providers, right? We provide service to our businesses so that they can consume the data and make decisions. So what I see from the demand perspective, I see more and more of the demand for embedded analytics and low latency analytics. So more of a convergence of the BI systems and OLTP systems. I know we've been talking about it for a very long time, but and maybe healthcare is behind sometimes, but right now I'm definitely seeing this where the users no longer want to go to and look at the BI system, a day-old reporting or even an hour-old reporting. They want to see the analytics inside their workflow. So all those transactional systems I see I'm asking for real-time embedded reporting analytics right inside of them. also, not only are they asking for it, they're asking for it to be more consistent and uniform. So they no longer want us to develop a little graph here or report here. They want to develop more of a kind of reusable widgets or services where it could be, to Sue's point, governed, those rules and those calculations uniformly across a big range of applications so that they can be then consumed and embedded within. So that reusability aspect and management of the data and rules applied to that, I see as a big demand. I jotted down a couple more as I was thinking about that. I think that the other thing that I'm seeing that really can't get around without cloud, I think, is really an increased demand for a large scale of storage and processing of data, and that is due to a lot of demand for a behavior analytics and auditing, because in our complex world, I see more and more demand, even more so, like who did what and what did they click on and how did it impact so and so. But in order to have this kind of very granular analysis, it requires an enormous amount of data storage and processing, and I just don't see how it can be done at scale without really a cloud solution, because then it becomes prohibitively expensive or not performant. And then last point that I jotted down when I was thinking about it is that something goes along with what Sue already said, and that is the increased demand for kind of data engineering. So with ML and with a lot of that advanced analytics, what I'm seeing is that there is a demand for that putting together the data, putting together test data, kind of specifically creating a really high quality, high fidelity, de-identified data that is very large scale, so that the ML and advanced analytics can truly run accurately. Because if it's not accurate, the model goes off very quickly. So having those large scale data set and generating that synthetic data so that it can be used for this new world of advanced analytics, that data engineering aspect I see is a big trend as well.
Okay, great. Thank you. We've got some questions coming in, but I'm going to hit you with one more that we had, that I had given you guys or asked you to answer. What key attributes do you look for when you're hiring resources?
I just spoke a lot, so my colleagues go ahead.
I don't think they
I
mind.
think I gave you all of mine because for me it was really all about cultural fit, right? And so let's let Lynn answer this one.
I think that one of the most important aspects of any job, but particularly knowledge workers like people who work with data, is to be really eager to always learn and not ever think you know it all, because we can't possibly know it all. And in our space, things change so quickly. We've got to always be learning and always be willing to be learning. And so, but then I look for people that balance humility, like true, like this isn't about me, this is about my team, this is about our effort together, this is about meeting that goal, but combined with some confidence. And the confidence doesn't have to be bravado or fake confidence, but true confidence of this is who I am and this is what I know and I'm going to stand by that. And being willing to speak up and say, hey, I have a hunch on this, I'm going to share my hunch, and not feel that you don't have a voice, that you shouldn't speak up even if you don't know if it's right or not. So for me, it's like Sue said, it's very cultural.
Great, Lynn, thank you. We have some coming in, some great questions.
Yep, we sure do.
I'm going to let you read them. Ladies, be prepared. There are some good ones.
They're coming
Here
in.
we go.
Okay. All right. So our first question here is from Sarah Mitran. Mitran, sorry about that. With COVID-19, what do you recommend for high tech or health IT professionals that got cut in the middle of transitioning into data analyst and data science for healthcare?
Interesting. I don't think that it's going to last forever, the whole COVID rate. So I know being caught in the middle, that I believe there is more demand and opportunity for people trying to break in. And that's because our teams are so consumed with trying to do the analytics on the COVID side of things. And so we have gaps on who's going to do our day-to-day in the healthcare industry, because we do have all hands on deck just focused on COVID. So I would continue to just pursue. You know, large healthcare companies, I think, are still hiring. I have 40 some odd positions in our IT department. We're still recruiting, not in data management, but I have like 5, but you know, overall. So I think that there's opportunity there. I really do. And if I were you, I would pursue and show what you can do. And I think you can break in, but also know that, you know, COVID will hopefully die down. So if you don't find something, you know, right away, because people are distracted in the healthcare industry with it, then, you know, it will come back around. So
something I've been thinking about the
I would,
situation is it's helping us each kind of know what's important to us, because life is getting pared down to the bare essentials. And I would encourage people to think about what aspect. I mean, this is looking to transition into a data analyst, data science role for healthcare, but what aspect of healthcare? What is really passionate for you? Is it about getting healthcare to the people who need it? Is it about research? Like I worked with a client that was doing, their data work was all around providing research to data to researchers. And so, you know, that lit up some people like, oh yeah, I want to help them find, you know, a cure for high blood pressure at altitude or whatever the was. And other people are really concerned about, you know, childhood well-being. And some people, there's the whole thing about geriatrics and how hard that's being hit. And so I think if you find that this COVID situation lights a fire under you about a certain topic, then follow that and stay with that and say, I really want to help solve that problem.
yeah, I would agree.
I would say that trying to put myself in your shoes and thinking what I would do. I think it depends on what really your true focus is. Is your true focus and goal is in healthcare? And as Lynn said, then go after, I would broaden your search through the healthcare continuum. If your true focus is on data, which I suspect it might be given that we are in the data webinar, then I would personally, I don't know your situation, of course, I would just broaden my search to all things data. And then when things get better, then I would try to migrate into the healthcare. Because if I get a good data analyst, for example, I would consider healthcare experience as a big plus, but maybe not necessarily a showstopper if it doesn't exist. So if your long-term goal to be in data, broaden your search and pursue data positions, whether it's healthcare or not, and then try to swing back. Hope it will help.
Great answers, girls, on the fly. So I'm going to take one of our other ones, Kaylee, and then we'll grab some more. We got a lot coming in now. And by the way, if we don't get to your question, we will definitely ask the girls, the ladies, to you know, give us some thoughts back, and we'll share those back out with you guys on the LinkedIn site, because we have a lot of questions coming in. So what advice can you give to women in the audience about keeping your sanity while growing your career? Drink more wine.
Oh my God.
Girlfriends. I can say girlfriends. Friends.
Oh, girlfriends. That's nice. Friends.
Having the friends, and I love that I have some of my best friends have worked in data, and we can call each other up after, you know, a year of not being in touch much, and we can, I had this challenge that I dealt with, and we can just jump right back into that. So I think the friends and true friendships, not ones that are based on, oh, if I'm buddy with that person, it'll be good for my career, but true friendships of people who know you. That to me has been a godsend.
Ladies, anyone else?
Sure. So I'd say a couple of things that come to mind. One is a hobby. So something that just kind of, I have a sport that I love, and you know, when I just go out and do and like play tennis, I'm a tennis player. So then it just gets my mind off and clears it. For somebody else, it's a different, it's skiing or whatever, I don't know, knitting. Find something that almost can be like meditative, right? To completely disconnect you from that. And then the second thing, again, it's personal, just from my perspective, it's keeping a perspective. Like I have a full-time job and 2 young kids, and then I was doing my MBA at the same time, sleeping, sometimes 4 hours a night on a good day. But all of this, like, oh my gosh, I can't do it anymore. But the sanity is like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I'm in that situation. The alternative, like the lady asked before, is like, how do I break in, right? I want to be in there and I can't. So having that perspective is like, this is crazy, but I'm in it. So thank you that I was given that opportunity to participate in that. So I would say hobby and just perspective of gratitude. That's for me.
Yeah, and I would echo what both these ladies said. And then I would add to that is really choosing your organizations wisely. So find an organization that fits with your style, because every organization is different. Understand their values and see what fits with you. And then when you get to that organization, you won't have the insanity that you would if you were in an organization that has different values or is structured differently, expects you at your desk 8 to 5, for example, versus, oh, I have flexible working hours as long as I get my work done, so all of that, or I have family. And I think we're going to see a dramatic shift coming after COVID because of all of these women who are trying to work, juggle families, trying to teach their children. I mean, the men are doing that as well, but we're going to see a dramatic shift in a lot of organizations and how they operate. So not just finding that right organization that fits your values, but also you're going to see more of them are going to be more tolerant to women in the workforce and juggling everything while they're trying to grow their careers. It's going to happen,
Kalia, you grab one.
Okay.
Question, any question?
First, I just want to say to Sue and to that is a whole nother webinar. My goodness, that is a big one. I think the answer to that question is self-care, if you ask me. And I don't think we've been able to crack it yet with how much has been slammed down on this woman's plate. But really, I mean, so many of us, we're all kind of going through the same thing now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. All right, we have a question coming in from Becky Wood. And she said, this is the question for Sue. Isn't it a concern that you won't get enough diversity in the usual categories, as well as in diversity in creativity and thinking, if you base your hiring decisions on a cultural template that was agreed upon by the current set of employees?
No, I don't think so, because what we did was really based around key words like compassion, respect, self-starter, positive. It was more things that would go to any culture, right? It would not be specified for a particular culture. Humility, another one, right? Self-starter, all of those things are, to me, universally values that we should all carry. And so when we decided, hey, these are the attributes we're going to look for when we grow our team, and this is how we as a team are going to operate, I think, that should be universal. We have a very diverse team. My team is, extremely diverse, and I value the diversity because I think it brings thinking that is much different than if you're all the same.
Yep.
So I look for diversity. We always do, to try and keep that balance of very different backgrounds and different genders. So yeah.
Great. Nice. Diversity matters. It truly does.
Yeah.
We are getting to close. I'm going to ask you girls one more question. And that is what's next in your life. People ask me that, and I say I'm going to move to Asheville, North Carolina, and have a flower farm and live music at my barn. So people can come listen to live music, make
I'm
moonshine. Just
excited.
kidding. Make some moonshine.
I'll visit Julie when she does that.
Good. What's next on? What's going on next?
I'm just learning how to take it one day at a time. Honestly, I know that sounds crazy, but I've been a person who always aspires to that next thing. I'm always shooting for that next thing. And I think what COVID is teaching me is to be grateful, to have that gratitude that what I have is really good and I don't need to have something different to be happy. But for me, because I thrive on change, for me, this is an evolution. This is like a point of maturity that's really important for me, to be okay with what is. So it's kind of exciting for me to say, hey, I'm here. Like, I want to see the long game here. I want to see what happens in this organization with this group of humans over many years. And I'm going to give a shout out to Todd Neese and Janice Henderson, because it was an engagement with that organization that taught me that I wanted this. So I was working for that organization when my father had a really bad accident and had a brain injury. And that, I was just a part-time consultant doing advisory work for them. And they wrapped their arms around me and took care of me at a really awful time in my life. And that actually sparked in me the idea that I might want to be part of a community long term. And it's working out really well for me to be in this community. And so for me, it's a learning that I can just be here one day at a time, and that's okay. I'll move on to the flower farm.
I need some of that thinking. I'm always looking, what's fun? What's going to happen next? Sue,
You are, Julie. Yes, you are.
I
I am a day at a time person. You should know that. I'm very content where I am every single day, and I'm very thankful and blessed for where I am. So I don't really, when I was younger, I was the planner, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do this, and it all came to fruition through hard work. I mean, I made everything work. But really, now it's let the universe take control. I mean, I'll do whatever comes along.
So you want to be a beach bum in Hawaii, right?
Sure, if that's what it is, I'm happy to take it.
Yana?
Sue, we haven't had a lunch or happy hour in a while. I really need some of Sue for me attitude, because I couldn't be more opposite, right? I need some of that.
I know.
Just chill out.
Give me the zen.
Chill out.
I'm you.
Yeah, zen.
Yeah, I'm older.
Yeah,
now.
I know. I was like, come on. I think it's, I at least I blame my upbringing and sort of my life journey, where, collapse of the countries and revolutions and whatnot. So I'm always on edge. So what's next for me? I want to learn as much as I can every day, so that I don't fall behind and that the disaster doesn't happen if, that new cloud or something else comes up that suddenly all of this 20 plus years of careers is no longer irrelevant, and I can't be effective right now as a leader to be able to lead my team. So to me, it's always just, what do I need to do to learn, whether it's technology, but it's more often than not nowadays in my stage of a career, how to be a better leader. So it's more over leadership skills and being able to really operate at that level and get to continue at least to be effective at what I do. So that to me is just continue on every day.
Yeah,
and then when I finally, I know, and then it's occasionally I just need to ping Sue and say, just calm me down.
I've been there where I drove myself to a frazzle every day. I was just like, okay, life's too short. It's time to let the universe take control. It's not that I don't work hard, I do. But
you guys are great. Let's turn the table on Kaylee. Kaylee, what do you want to do next? Oh, Look, you're on mute. Yep.
I want to just bounce back and forth between what you're up to in North Carolina and Sue's going to be on the beach over there. I want to hang with Lynn because she's really got some of these really kick butt female empowerment traits. And Yana, let's like hang. I want to hang out with all you guys. Let's get together. We can do the elbow tap and socially distance ourselves and have a glass of wine in person.
Hopefully not much longer. So
Not much longer.
I'm going to turn it over to you. We're up at the top of the hour, and then we got to wrap. I feel bad we didn't get to everyone's questions, but
I know, but
we'll put them out on the LinkedIn site and then ask these girls if they could go in and, add a little bit. So final survey, you guys, just trying to make sure we're giving you the content and everything. How valuable was it to you?
Right. Yep.
Are we heading in the right direction?
Exactly. It's our first event for Great Data Minds Women. So let's make sure that, any feedback is shared with us. And like Julie said, we want to give a big thank you to our audience. Don't forget to join us in our brand new LinkedIn group that we've just launched. We are going to send out a recording of this meeting. We're getting some questions about that. We will send that out tomorrow morning. It will also have more information about that LinkedIn group in there. And if anybody has any questions for any of the panelists or for Great Data Minds as an organization, please reach out to us at info@greatdataminds.com. We will be able to make sure that you're connected. And then I just want to give a big heartfelt thank you to Julie, to Sue, to Lynn, and to Yana. Thank you for this conversation. This was absolutely wonderful.
Yay.
And I look forward to more like this. Everybody smile. Let's take a little Zoom video. We'll take a little picture. Let's see those pearly whites, ladies. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye,
Be healthy,
guys.
well.
Thank you for your time.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.